The views on this program do not reflect those of ONTV or its board of directors. Welcome to OAA Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Taormina.
Welcome to OAA Now. Here I'm Sammy Taormina, blogger of around the OAA, blogger of and one of the hosts of Between Terminus, and also one of the hosts of Last Week Brain Cells on Orion Television.
What don't you host, Sammy?
I know. Like to welcome those hearing us on SoundCloud and Local Voice, and also hearing us on Facebook Live. So a lot to look at here. I'm Ian. Incredible last week. Obviously, when you look at playoffs, another OA team in the state finals, Division I state finals. A return of a legend at Lake Orion, and then we got the boys basketball previews to talk about this week on the pod. Also, congratulations to Birmingham Seaholm for winning the Division II state title in swimming. Groves also was in the top 5 as well. A lot of great performances in girls swimming.
Awesome. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do we want to just get into the news?
We got to get into it. I mean, obvious.
Breaking news, man.
Breaking news. Our first storyline here before we talk the Adams playoff run, obviously, is at Lake Orion. I mean,
yes.
Chris Bell back at Lake Orion, taking over the head coaching gig. Of course, Bell left at the job in 2017 to focus on being the role of AD.
Yep.
Now he is taking over both jobs. So again, I mean, so when you really look at this hire, I mean, like, this is good. I think to me, this had to be the I had a feeling that this was coming. You know what I mean? Especially with the record that was last year. I mean, like the you know, when you go 3-6, I mean, like, it's really, really difficult. I mean, I knew the off-season stuff. I mean, like, the struggles. I mean, like, so.
But all programs go through that. We've seen programs do it. You go up and down. You know, different classes of kids coming in, different interests, different things. It's cyclical, right?
Yeah, it's cyclical.
But to see and hear, man, Coach Bell is back with the headset and the clipboard in hand. That was surprised. I was shocked when Coach Black was announced that he stepped down.
Mm-hmm.
He'll still be on the staff.
Yep.
Which is good because he is a resource and
absolutely.
And just you'd hate to see him leave the staff. Having him on staff is an asset.
That is a huge thing here. And when you look at with Lake Orion, I know the records. You know what I mean. You got to really throw the records out the window. I mean, like, I know they've had some struggles.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. But when you look at Bell's record, you know, 149-59 at Lake Orion. I mean, like, that tells you a lot, especially where this program has been under his watch. I mean, a state championship in 2010, state semifinal appearances in 1998, 2010, 2012, and 2008.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and then you have regional titles, district titles. I mean, like, so I think for me, I think it makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To bring him in. I mean, back into the fold.
Well, he was never out of the fold. I mean, you know, having Bell, you know, as the AD, I thought it was a great idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been here forever.
Yes.
And our relationship with him from ONTV and the athletic department and all that stuff with him taking over has been phenomenal. It's been great, a great partnership.
Mm-hmm.
And to see him go back, it's like, wow. You know, sometimes what's that term? Sometimes you can never go home, or
right. That's what it is.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see what it's gonna be like. And the good thing is he's not coming in cold.
No.
You know, he's got a playbook this thick and knows more football than anybody.
Obviously, when you look at Lake Orion under Coach Bell, I mean, like, obviously, this is a team that loves to spread it out, loves to run the jet offense, the zone read offense. I mean, like,
when you have the personnel, remember we saw the later stages of when he was at the helm.
Yes,
they had issues with that.
But when you look at this team next year, obviously you have Dorian Hill coming back. You have some playmakers, especially in the freshman JV records where they went undefeated. Both those teams went. You still got some nice young playmakers coming up within the system. You still got to find a quarterback. So I'm curious to see how Bell addresses that situation. But the big problem they got to address is the defense. I mean, One thing is, I don't know if they had the personnel this year defensively. They were very young there on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, defense has been very inconsistent over the last several years, right?
Well, in the last 2 years, the defense. When you look at Black Sox record the last 2 years, 6-9, that's not like Orion football. That's not like Orion when you look at that record.
Yeah.
But when you look at the Dragons, having Coach Bell back, I think this is a key summer for them, because when you look at it here, I really think the summer really preluded this season. With the things that went on over there. But
you know more than I do, and I know you're not getting into details, but I don't know. You're making it sound like something was a miss.
It was a miss all summer over there. So I think the summer's key for them. I really do. I think the commitment's got to be key. I think there's got to be a lot of things that's got to change.
Do you think bringing him in will give him a shot of energy?
Yes, because he's going to make kids accountable. He's going to hold them accountable. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying Black Sox didn't, but I think that's the key. You know what I mean?
And looking at the kids that'll have, he hasn't coached any of these kids, right? So it's been a whole cycle.
A whole new cycle.
So he's a new coach coming in for a lot of these kids.
It's a whole new cycle, but the kids know who he is. And I think that's the thing. I think this transition is going to be smooth, because let's not forget, he's going to keep the majority. He's going to keep the majority of the staff. Obviously, when you look at if you're a new coach coming into a new setting, you know what I mean. You're changing the whole thing around. At Lake Orion, I don't think it's going to change much. You know what I mean?
Which we've seen with other teams, right? You get teams from outside the league coming in, not understanding the OAA. Who understands the OAA better than Bell?
Yes, and that makes a lot of sense here.
Right?
And
I can't emphasize enough having Black Sox still on staff.
That's huge, because
right?
It's basically having like two head coaches on the same field together. On the same sideline. So
yeah, and it really shows too the camaraderie, the community of these coaches in Lake Orion, right? There's no animosity.
No.
There's, you see some school, like we've seen school districts where bringing a coach in and they're there for a couple months and then they're canned, or they brought in on weird circumstances, right? All this turmoil. This is not the case.
No, it's not the case at all. And I think, this is to me like I think this is going to be an energy boost for Lake Orion. I really do, coming into next year. You've got a very young group coming back. Now, the only thing he's going to have to address is the quarterback situation.
Which is no small feat.
No, but knowing Bell, he has found really good quarterbacks in the past. Let's not forget, you look at players like Nate Recknagel, Chad O'Day. You look at, of course, Brad Hood, who was in my class. Chris Lum, Sean Charette, Ryan Broth, of course. Let's not forget, I remember 1 year back in it was 2007, of course, when Lum was hurt most of the year.
Yeah. Went
to a makeshift offense with Ryan Broth, and he led them to the playoffs, into a regional final run. So, that tells you something. That tells you how smart and intelligent Coach Chris Bell is. You know what I mean? He is a really, really smart individual. Probably one of the best coaches in the state of Michigan. When you look at it. I played for Coach Bell, obviously. And, and I think that
I did not.
You did not know that. But I'm telling you, knowing Bell's football IQ, I think Lake Orion will be, don't be surprised if Lake Orion is a surprise team next year.
Wow, you're really taking it to the next level.
I am.
Anytime, they still have personnel issues.
They still got to address it, yes.
Right? And
program strength looks to be on.
It's
starting to get back on solid ground.
Seems to be okay. Yes.
And I think
especially in the JV freshman ranks, they have full teams.
They have full teams. Program strength is very important, and I think that's going to be the thing. It's just getting them up to the varsity level. I think going back to the tradition. You know what I mean? Maybe going back to the green Oklahoma style uniform. I mean, you seen it back in the Bell days, when they had the Russells, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When they had the Russells. I think going back to the tradition, you know what I mean, really
yeah,
makes some
and
sense here.
the you and I are kind of alike, Sam. We like the traditional stuff, the old school things.
Absolutely.
But the young kids like the flashy and new. I mean, look at
sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't need the flashy and new to.
And flashy and new doesn't win you games, but sometimes flashy and new for the player putting it on, it makes them, gets them amped up a little bit. How many games has a uniform won?
I don't think this group needs flashy and new.
I haven't heard of a uniform winning a game.
I don't think this team needs flashy and new. I think they need old school style, old school style brand Lake Orion football.
So no face masks to go leather helmets? Too old school?
Too old school.
But yeah, it's an interesting. That was for me. It was unexpected.
I had some hints.
Well, I was talking to, what was it? Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Was announced Thursday, right? Thursday night, or
no? It was announced It was Tuesday night. It was tweeted out by Mick McCabe.
Okay,
I was in the room when that happened.
That's right. So on Wednesday morning, I was at the high school for a meeting, and it came up, and it sounded like this was a kind of a done deal at the start of the season. That this was, with Black Stock, it's like potentially this would have been. He already let Bell know that this was probably going to be his last year, and it was all on good terms, like we mentioned. And like you said, you don't want turmoil in the program. You don't want all these different things, and
I can't speculate it because I don't know.
No. Yeah, I mean, if you're still on the staff and all that good, obviously there's good relations, right? So it's good to see, like I mentioned again, having him still on the staff with Bell. I think it just.
I think it's going
to bolsters the program.
It's going to bolster the program, and I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, like for him to come back into the program, and I think it gives the kids a. I think the first thing he's got to do is change that routine. Especially in the summer. I think this summer is key for them. To see if they can. I mean, to gel that chemistry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To make sure everybody's on the same page.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So when I found out, what did I do? I texted you.
You texted me, and
what was your response? Do you remember? No. Oh yeah, I knew 5 hours ago.
Yeah, I knew 5
Where
hours.
were you?
I was in the high school when it happened.
You didn't text me. You didn't let me know.
My bad.
He goes, I knew for 5 hours. Like, oh, great, thanks. Awesome. Yeah, the guy over pushing the buttons, debating all this stuff.
Yep. I knew.
5 hours?
Yeah.
Sammy.
I know.
How did you hold that in? There were other games. I can't remember what you were texting me about other schools' coaches leaving. Like, oh my gosh, he's gone.
Yeah, well,
I heard nothing from the guy across the way.
Sometimes you gotta. Sometimes you gotta keep things quiet. You know what I mean?
Why? It was announced.
I know. Well, McCabe
wasn't it announced?
Nick McCabe actually broke it on Twitter. That's what happened. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then everything just broke out. You know what I mean?
I had to hear it from my wife.
Yes. Uh-oh.
She got the scoop on you, sir.
That's not good.
Come on, you're slipping. Anyway, I just had to bust your chops a little bit.
Yeah, she did. Now let's go from the Coach Bell. From the Coach Bell story. Let's go to Rochester Adams.
I'm gonna do it. I know it's not breaking, but it's good news, man, for the OAA.
Yeah,
they continue to roll.
They're in the state champ. Adams is in the state championship game after knocking off Grand Blanc.
Knocking off. You're being nice.
Knocking them off 40-20 in the district semifinal. No, on the state semifinals at Howell.
Yes.
On Saturday afternoon, of course. When you look at Adams, obviously Parker Pico had a really nice game. 151 yards rushing, 1 rushing score. He had 152 yards and 3 passing touchdowns.
What?
Tate Pico had a pick 6 for a touchdown.
So 300 yards offense.
Yep. Christian Schomer had 2 receiving touchdowns. Adams' defense forced 3 fumbles, 2 interceptions, and then a 4th down stop. I mean,
okay,
that's insane.
Let's dig in.
Yep.
Going into this, obviously I missed last week's show, so we didn't get to banter about our predictions and things. Of course, you picked Adams to win.
Yes, I did.
Did you have a score in mind? How close were you?
I wasn't even close. I thought it would be a
tighter game.
It would be a tighter game.
Right? That's like we thought it would be a tighter game against Oxford.
Right. But you knew it was going to be tight against West Bloomfield.
We definitely knew that.
Mm-hmm.
If not Adams potentially going down.
Right.
So my mindset going in, I go, this is going to be a good game. This is going to be tight, 7 points, 10 maybe. Maybe 10
I
points.
had a feeling at Grand Blanc, its defense, where they didn't look that strong against Rockford 2 weeks ago at Rockford, even though they won that game. Had not been for Rockford missing a 2-point conversion to win that game, it would have been talking Adams and
That's
Rockford.
a crazy game, too.
Mm-hmm.
If listeners and viewers didn't catch that one, try to find it. That was a wild
game, yes.
So Adam goes in, not too far from home.
Well, it was a little hike for them to have to go to
Howell. That's not that far.
Howell and Adams, it's a little far. I mean, Grand Blanc to Howell is a little far, too, even though, despite the fact that Grand Blanc and Howell were in the same conference a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
But
just down 59. That's not. I mean, it's close enough. It's better than East Lansing or Okemos.
That is true.
What are you talking? 40 minutes?
That is true. I mean, you could have just imagine if the game was been at Clarkson or Oxford or Lake Orion.
Yeah. Do you think the other side of the state would have gone, wait a minute, a little too close to home?
Well, here's the thing. West side of state, what I mean? You don't have any teams in Division I left in the West side.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
Adams
true.
is basically your representative from the West side.
Yeah, that's true. The way that's the way they had them seated up. That was odd. That's pretty funny. But Howell, decent facility, decent stadium.
They got good stands.
Yeah. And the weather was decent.
Cloudy.
But it was a nice day for football. I mean, it wasn't some atrocious thing. Cold.
Yeah.
But so what did we see?
Well,
we heard that we're
14-0.
14-0. Adams goes down. Right? They were trailing 14-0. Right?
Let's not forget Grand Blanc's got a heck of a running back in Elijah Jackson Anderson.
Yes.
I mean, he had a 93-yard rushing touchdown to start.
Crazy.
And an 82-yard screen pass for a touchdown.
These teams were throwing haymakers, man.
Mm-hmm.
What else would you want from a semifinal game?
And then
had everything.
And then Grand Blanc started to turn the ball over. Adams took advantage of Grand Blanc's mistakes.
Did Grand Blanc just drop it on their own, or did the defense have a say in it?
Adams' defense has a huge say in
it.
I mean, they got
It's not like Grand Blanc goes, give me the ball.
They got a very good defensive lineman in them. Yeah,
right?
They got a good defensive lineman in them.
Yes.
He's going to Harvard next year. I mean, they got a really good one. And I know
watched him in action on Bally's.
Mm-hmm. And then they got Hassan Murray as well. I mean, Alex DeKirk is the Harvard commit.
Very good player.
Very good player.
Fast.
Mm-hmm.
Deceptively fast for the size.
Yeah, he's very fast, very athletic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, and then you look at the turnovers Adams' defense made. That led to some. And you know what was shocking was Grand Blanc was putting 8 guys in the box
for the run.
Because the veer, you know what I mean?
Yes.
What is the veer predicted on? Run.
Yeah.
So they were daring Parker Pico to throw.
And he torched him for 150.
And he torched him for 151 and 152 in the air and 3 touchdowns.
So it was kind of a pick your poison, and they executed.
Yeah.
That blew my mind, that statistic.
Because
it goes against trend.
It goes against the trend. It goes against the and I was surprised Adams kind of ran a little bit of a spread in that game. They ran a little bit of spread because that was the defense that Grand Blanc gave them. And Pico torched him in the air.
Heck of a coaching job.
By Tony Petrino.
Oh, yes. To be able to change, to be prepared or have your players prepared and ready to go for anything. You put everybody in the box, fine, we're going to go over the top.
Let's not forget, Adams trailed that previous week against West Bloomfield 13-0.
Yes.
So they were there before. They were not phased. You know what I mean?
No.
They weren't phased.
Yeah, this team is battle-tested. I mean,
absolutely.
It's really amazing to see.
And then seeing Parker Picot basically torture him in the air like that. Let's not forget, this kid's a baseball player.
I know.
Well, he's going to Alabama in 2 years.
Got an arm.
I mean, he's got it.
But he's also making the right choices. Like the decision making. This is why having an upperclassman heavy team, right? Mm-hmm. It pays dividends, right?
Let's not forget, this kid played wide receiver back in 2019.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
I talked to. I mean,
put him in the QB spot now. Yeah, get to the state finals.
During media day, I mean, like I remember talking to Tony, the coach Petrino, about with Joe Johnson. I mean, like about like. In the highlight we had against Adams, back in 19, with Parker Picot going off for that 76-yard pass touchdown against Lake Orion. That was insane.
That was an eye-opener.
Yeah.
Right? That was like, whoa.
And then to see the performance of Picot, you know what I mean? He's really blossomed in the postseason. I think
he's one of the most pure athletes I think I've seen.
And he's a multi-sport athlete.
Pure athlete.
Yeah, he's a multi-sport athlete.
The game is definitely slowed down for this kid. Mm-hmm. Right? The decision making, the playmaking ability, just situational awareness, the way he plays,
and then you have
so at a high level.
And it's not just Pico who's playing well for them.
No, yes.
Griffin Hankey's been solid at running back. You got Joey Shallow. You have Mr. Oh, my goodness.
Well, the offensive line.
Offensive line's been outstanding. I mean, like, they've got some young talent there. Brady Prescorn. I mean, like, Mr. Schomer. I mean, like, he's played really well. I mean, like, for them.
I wish this game was televised because I would love to have seen. It may have been on, MHSA TV.
Yeah, it was on MHSA TV.
But it wasn't for everybody to see on Bally's and such.
But it was just.
I'd love to have seen the variety of receivers he used. I don't know because
he used a lot of them. He used
because I've never seen Adams really go deep. It's like, are these just situational passes? Did they do them?
And the veer is not a situation. In the veer, you know what I mean. You tend to all you do is basically run. But what they've done is create balance with that offense, basically.
Right now, yeah.
Right, they've created balance. I mean, obviously. You look at the playmakers that Adams has. I mean, like, they've really performed to expectations.
Yeah.
And then when you look at on the defensive side, this is where I think Adams has been really good. He's been on their defensive side of the football.
Well, not only good, but championship level good in the second half.
Yeah.
Right?
They held Graham Blank to 6 points in the second half.
Yeah. And look what they did to West Bloomfield.
Yeah. Shut them out.
Shut them down. Right?
Nothing.
Which was unexpected.
Nothing. I mean, right? And then they limited Elijah Jackson Anderson in the second half. I know he did get an extra touchdown. Then he had 3 touchdowns. They shut down Hunter Ames pretty good. I mean, they shut him down, which was really impressive. And they got to Graham Blank's offensive line. I mean, they forced turnovers. I mean, and then Adams converted offensively. So,
yeah,
that was
a turnover doesn't mean anything if you can't convert it to something.
Right.
Right.
And that's what they did. I mean, they got a good kicker in Colin Timko. I mean, like, he had 2 field goals and I think had 3 extra points in that game as well. So, yeah, a lot of good when you look at Rochester Adams. I mean,
absolutely.
In that game against Grand Blanc. I mean, like,
and like we said, it's like it was a pick your poison game. Mm-hmm. What did you want to do? Let's stop the run.
Right.
They torch you through the air. You adjust back to that situation. Then they kill you in the run.
They kill you in the run. So basically, that's what Adams likes to do. Yeah. And here's one thing that you and I got to talk about. They don't have a lot of kids on that team.
No. I'm glad you brought that up. Mm-hmm. How many? 44
kids, 45 kids.
That's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So prior to going on the air, chatting about personnel and how are they doing this?
I'll tell you, they got athleticism, that's for sure.
Well, we talked about that. Natural athletes out there, guys who know their position, know their job, and they're doing it well. Mm-hmm. Upperclassmen.
Yeah.
But the thing, having these guys play both ways because of the personnel numbers.
Right.
And we've seen it for years. I mean, this is high school football, right? You have
Right.
a star on one side, they'll star on the other.
Right.
And to see the quarterback out making hits on the defense, I was watching on
Pico plays both sides
against West Bloomfield, and he's laying his shoulder into these guys for West Bloomfield.
He even got an interception in that game.
I know, and you're going, what? Right? And you're like, don't get hurt, But that was the amazing thing with the numbers they have. How are they managing the injuries? I mean, everybody's beat up at this time of year, right?
Yes, they are.
I mean, you're walking wounded.
Yes.
But a gold medal has to be given to their strength and conditioning and training staff over to keep those kids healthy because, my goodness, just 44, 45 kids. And to see them rolling through schools that have rosters in the 70s, right?
Yeah, Grand Blanc had over 100 kids.
Right?
Yeah, Grand Blanc had over 100 kids.
All them kids you can pick from, and they've got like 45.
And Adams coming in that game with Grand Blanc. Grand Blanc had, I think not sure how, I think they're the second enrolled school in the entire.
Second largest?
Second largest. And then you look at Adams there, the 15th, I think they're the second smallest in Division I. That's insane.
But also, you go, numbers, that could be, a negative.
Right.
It can be, especially if you get injuries. We saw that with like Berkeley, right? I mean, the numbers, how you have you run in and all of a sudden, you run into problems. So seeing that, having such a tight knit group, a small group,
yep,
right?
And they're
good. They're athletic.
They're athletic.
They're absolutely skilled at what they're doing. But having a smaller group kind of brings you closer together.
Absolutely,
right?
Does.
And they've been playing for so long, right? I mean, this is the perfect example of, I'm playing for the guy next to me, and that's usually what football is, right? It's I'm playing for the guy next to me on my left and my right.
And this is a worksman-like scheme.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It is absolutely.
And that's when you look at
nothing flashy.
They're not anything flashy. You know what I mean?
They'll just push you up and down the field.
Push you up and down the field, and that veer can make up for a lot of problems.
It can.
It does.
And they. This is the best team we've seen run it in a very, very long time.
They're the only school. We know there's schools that run this offense.
I've seen smaller schools from up north running them or a triple option-y type.
Yeah,
they never throw.
But Adams.
But
this is a whole other animal. You know what I mean? Ever since Tony Petrino brought in this offense in 2003, he brought this in not only into the OAA, but he also brought it into the state of Michigan. He brought into not only this league, but the state got to see it. And that's insane. Absolutely insane, to bring this type of offense in. And it's so hard for a defense to figure it out.
If you haven't seen it, and we've seen teams who have seen it still have difficulties. I go back to that West Bloomfield matchup.
Oxford, same thing.
Well, they trucked Oxford. I thought that would be a lot closer. But if you go to West Bloomfield, right, that's the next game up, right? That's the semis.
Right.
Or the regional.
Right. They're the defending Division I state champs.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
And they already saw him.
They already saw him week 1, and they lost.
And they could not answer.
Couldn't answer. And I think that's a credit to Adams' offensive, to Petrino and his offensive staff for adjusting in that second half.
And wearing teams down, dude. I mean, they're wearing these guys out.
I know. It's hard.
Just,
it's a hard.
Beating them to a pulp.
It's a hard offense to figure out. It really is. I mean, obviously, the veer has a lot to do with it. But also, you're right. The kids' conditioning, you know what I mean? I mean, that's a huge credit there. I mean, when you look at practices, Adams, they really can't do, much with the numbers they have.
Yeah, it's
but
true.
They do watch a lot of film. They watch a lot of them. They do work, you know what I mean? And, and that's a huge credit to Tony Petrino and the staff.
Absolutely.
Now they get to go back to, actually, this is their first trip to Ford Field because their state 2 final trip in 2003 was at the Pontiac Silverdome.
Ooh, the dome.
Why? What's wrong with the Pontiac Silverdome?
I don't miss the dome at all.
Why? the hard turf.
You couldn't. Oh, it was the worst.
Parking was good though.
Yeah, you could park for days over there. That's funny. I saw monster truck shows there. Pistons
Pistons were there.
Motocross.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff going on over
Sad
at the
that they
Dome.
got rid of it.
But that was the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I won't go into it.
So now they get to go down to Ford Field.
Yes, and Ford Field is a awesome venue for high school football state finals. It's really cool.
It's a great experience to be down there at Ford Field.
Yeah.
To be on the sideline. I was down there 3 times. I mean, like in 08, 10, I was up in the press box in 10, and then 12 I was up in the press box as well. Just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable things over there.
Yeah, and I was there for, was it Clarkston versus Saline? Was that
yeah,
one of them?
I was at state.
Yeah,
Ford Field, yep.
And they took care of Saline. Clarkston won that one. That was a decent game.
And they took on Novi Detroit Catholic Central.
Yeah, I didn't go to that one, but I did go to the Clarkston Saline game, and it was just a lot of fun. You know, the community's coming out. Yeah, you're not going to fill the place up.
No, but you get your whole side. You get a whole side.
It was
just
awesome.
imagine how Adams will bring.
Oh,
Adams will bring. You know, there's going to be a lot of people in that Rochester
it's
community.
going to be full, but also there's got to be an OAA contingent out there cheering them on,
there is.
right? I mean, we can. If you've
I've
never
seen it on Twitter, you know, Royal Oak is cheering them on. Stony Creek's cheering them on. Oh, I mean, the OAA Nation's going to be cheering on.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, like, can you just imagine? And then you're going to have a sea of yellow, you know what I mean, on one side. And the other side, you got
orange
Belleville,
and black.
Orange and black. So, and we know what Belleville's
And we haven't talked about Belleville.
We haven't talked about Belleville yet.
Yeah, what? So
even though Belleville, we saw them play last year against West Bloomfield, you know, in that state final game, and I say
the
semifinal game, yeah.
That was
nuts.
The end of that game made no sense.
No, Belleville, Jermaine Crowell's play calling made no sense in that game with West Bloomfield last year.
It's
First of all, why would you go for for a field goal attempt to win the game when your kicker has been blocked
and hasn't done well?
Really hasn't done well, and then they get blocked.
Yeah.
And then the other mistake they made was, why would you go for two?
Yeah. See.
Why would you go for the win instead of go for
keep playing?
Instead of keep playing, you know what I mean? I mean, like,
and their defense was playing well. So is this a redemption tour for Belleville? They're back.
This is their first trip ever to the state final,
right? But they got to the final or the semis. They battled the way back to the semis, and they finally got in.
They got in. You know what I mean? But I know their theme this year is tap, tap, tap.
That's their theme?
That's their theme. Tap, tap, tap.
What, like tap shoes, or what does that mean?
Maybe wrestling move.
Oh,
maybe
okay,
like
tapping out. I get you.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
But
pin them to the mat, tap.
Yeah, but
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Winning the big championship belt.
But when you look at Belleville this year, I mean, they're coming in at 12-1. Only loss, I believe, was the one at Churchill. And we know Churchill's a pretty good team.
Yeah.
But they have a freshman quarterback in Bryce Underwood who's really performed really well for them this year.
You said they're kind of comparable to West Bloomfield in their makeup.
Yes, they are very comparable to West Bloomfield. And I think that's a very good analogy because let's not forget West Bloomfield, young quarterback, good running game. I mean, I think West Bloomfield's rushing attack is a little bit more better. Their playmakers are really good. Similar to West Bloomfield. Offensive line is solid. I mean, they're very comparable to West Bloomfield. Very comparable. Yeah. But I think West Bloomfield's a little bit more, you know what I mean, well-rounded.
Balanced
on both sides.
Yeah, talent through all the positions, yeah.
But Belleville's got their fair share of D1 kids.
What's before we start digging into the team itself, what was their path to the
Belleville
finals?
had to go through. They didn't have to go through Saline because Saline was upset by Canton. Canton, they knocked off Dearborn Forest in the regional final. It was a really tight game, 12-7. And then they knocked off Sterling Heights Stevenson 40-26. Stevenson made 2 really dumb plays in that game. I mean, first of all, you're up by 1. Take a knee.
At the end of the first half.
Take a knee. Let the clock run out. You'll be up by 1.5. Instead, they throw the ball, really bad ball. to Belleville, pick 6 for a touchdown, change the whole complexion.
Just before the half.
Just before the half, change the whole game.
Momentum swing.
Change the whole complex of the game. And then another play Stevenson made was a mistake was, why would you go for it deep in your own territory when
on fourth down?
Instead of just putting the ball, forcing Belleville to play field position. And it made no sense.
Yeah.
It made absolutely no sense.
Was it like 4th and inches and you just got to fall down?
No, it wasn't 4th and inches. It made absolutely no sense. I mean, and Belleville took advantage and went down and scored. So, so it could have went either way in that game with Sterling Heights-Stevenson. But Belleville won that game, overcame a ton of demons. And now they're in the state final for the first time in school history. Taking on Adams' team. For the kids for Belleville, I think this is going to be nerves for them. I mean, yes, Jermaine Crowell's been there as an assistant at Troy Cass Tech, going up against Adams. Looking at Belleville, a lot of D1 proven kids on that team. Bryce Underwood, I mean, we know he can throw it.
Yeah.
Going up against the Adams team, it's been really resilient. I mean, that's been Adams' team all year. It's been resilient. I mean,
yeah.
You look at you look at this game on paper. I mean, this looks to be a really, really good ball game on paper. Really good.
And with the performance of Adams in their semifinal game
against Grand Blanc,
yes, the pick your poison option, what we just talked about 20 minutes on. What are you going to do? Stop the run? Now you got to worry about a spread or a stop the pass because they can get you on both ends.
Right.
And so doesn't that throw a little wrinkle into Belleville's game plan? Because you're going, hey, it's severe. All they do is run the ball. It's like the old adage of, Michigan State basketball, Big Ten basketball. They're slow plotting. They're going to run that clock down. Nuh-uh. They like to run. If you're not going to pay attention, they're going to bite you.
Right, and I think that's going to be, if you're Jermaine Crowell.
They're not just going to run the ball.
It's kind of pick your poison. I mean, and then on the other side of things, if you're Adams, you're looking at, if you're Adams' defense, you're going up against a freshman quarterback. Bryce Underwood's a really good quarterback. Let's not forget that. He's a really good quarterback. Now, you've seen some good quarterbacks. You've seen Raekwon Nance. You've seen Hunter Ames. You've seen Brady Carpenter. I mean, you've seen a lot of good quarterbacks this season, even in the white this year. I mean, obviously, Ryan Shelby was a good quarterback. You've seen, Alex Blano at Rochester. You've seen, a lot of great quarterbacks this season. So, so if you're Adams, you've seen good quarterbacks.
Yes.
You've seen really good ones. This is nothing new for them.
Nope. And they've also seen quality personnel in the support areas, right? And in all of these skill positions, quality running backs,
right?
Good receivers,
right?
Good offense and defensive lines.
They've seen them.
They've seen it all.
I mean, Adams, I know they've given up over 20 points at least once. I know North Farmington, they did that.
That's crazy.
Over 25 once.
And the run through the play, is that just all
that was
season?
The regular season.
Yeah. Now look at the playoffs.
Yeah. They held Oxford to 7, which was shocking.
Yes. West Bloomfield to
13. Grand Blanc to them 20. I mean, that tells you
if you're holding teams that what is a defense wins championships. We keep talking about the offense. Yeah. But
they have a defense.
Yes.
Let's not forget this team's got a defense. And then when you look at
how about Belleville?
We know the Kensington Lakes, the East Division, where they have to deal with Fordson, Livonia Churchill, Livonia Franklin, Livonia Stevenson. That's not an easy league to get by. I mean, look at Livonia Franklin. They got to the Division II state semifinals where they were just blown up by Warren De La Salle.
Yeah.
But they got there, I mean, despite having an under 500 record. I mean, Livonia Churchill, they're no
slouch.
They're no slouch. I mean, Dearborn Fordson, we know what they did. I mean, Belleville and Fordson had a crazy game. I mean, the other in the regional final. It was a heck of a game. I mean, Belleville this is a team they've been battle tested. They had that loss to Livonia Churchill.
Early or late in the season?
It was early in the year. I mean, I would have been curious to see how they would have matched up with Saline.
Yeah.
Because I know Saline finished the year undefeated, and they were in the Saline's in the Southeastern Conference.
SEC, yeah.
But I would have loved to see that game. I mean, love to see it.
Yeah.
But they were upset by Plymouth Canton. And I thought, in my opinion, if Saline would have been probably the team that would have gave Belleville the greatest problems. But it didn't happen.
Nope.
I mean, Belleville actually, they've had a really strong path. They're using the tap, tap, tap motivation.
Whatever gets them
Belleville
there, right?
has been. I noticed something with this Belleville team this year. They've been more businesslike this year. They've been more businesslike. I haven't seen the cockiness or the.
Yeah, they did a lot of talking last year.
Yeah, they did a lot of talking last year, and I've noticed that they've really toned down on that. And you look at, I think that's a credit to Crowell and his staff. You know what I mean, for tapping down the chatter and all that, because as well as I do, chatter, karma gets you.
It does.
Karma really gets you.
Yeah, and we've seen that with multiple teams. They beat somebody, and they go, "Yeah, we're talking." You run a mouth, and then you get trucked the next week.
Yep.
It's like,
yeah. So, and then Adams, you don't see that with them. You don't see that with Adams.
No.
You don't see that. You don't see it with nearly anybody.
So what? Let's get down to some brass tacks there, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
We're at 42.
Okay.
What are we looking at here? Are we looking at a too close to call? Is it a pick'em game?
I don't think this is a pick'em. Not at all. Because Belleville has not seen a team that will run this offense, the Veer offense. This is an offense they have never seen before. And we know a lot of teams haven't seen this type of offense before. So I'm looking at it from okay, if Belleville wants to run it up, speed it up, I expect Belleville's going to try to speed it up. Now, on the flip side, I don't know Belleville's nerves, because this is their first trip to state final.
Yeah.
They might be geeked, you know what I mean? They might be excited. I've seen that happen. I've seen it happen to many teams, that they're excited, they're geeked up to be here. And I think Belleville's that way.
If that's the case, and we've seen, I know you and I are a lot alike. We watch these games.
Yes.
I have it on all day,
mm-hmm.
watching these games. I
mm-hmm.
love it. I love these high school games. I'm bummed that Ubley's not back in.
Yeah. I can't believe they lost to Beale City.
I know. So these little, it's either one or the other getting
mm-hmm.
in, right? So I love these little teams and watching the small town teams and watching them play. And it's just a ton of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But, and to your point, if they are bright lights in the moment, the Tigers, right?
Yep.
The first 5 minutes of the game, 7 minutes of the game of the first quarter
mm-hmm.
could be crucial.
I think it is going to be for Belleville.
Right?
I really do.
Because if they come out cold, we've seen teams come out and fumble, interception, just do nothing,
mm-hmm.
give up a punt return. We've
seen it all.
The Dome's a different beast. If you haven't
mm-hmm.
played in there, the sight lines are weird. There's a lot going on.
Right.
We're usually seeing trees in the background. You see stands, and it can
right.
play with
it's going to play with
your depth perception on passing and receiving
and I think it's going to be in that for Belleville. I really do. I mean, now with Adams' side of things, I don't know if this team's going to be phased, because I know there are going to be some nerves there. But you have a coaching staff that's been to state finals. I mean, Petrino's been there.
The staff has,
so
but
has Crowell, but
the kids haven't.
The kids haven't. So I expect on the Adams side, probably there's going to be the same amount of nerves that Belleville's going to have.
Belleville, young team, old team, besides
Belleville's
the quarterback.
a pretty young team, but they got a lot of kids that have been to camps, getting a lot of D1 offers. Yeah. Whereas with Adams, there's others that are getting offers like elsewhere, basically besides football. I know the clerk is a Harvard commit for football, but you looking at Parker Pico's a baseball commit in Alabama.
Yeah.
Brady Prescorn's like you're going to get a lot of basketball offers. I think that I think for Adams, it's this for them. They're going to have some nerves themselves, but I think that offense that'll calm everything down. I really do. So when you look at previewing nerves in that matchup, I would look more at Belleville's nerves than I would with Adams.
Okay.
Because that's where I'm looking at. The quarterback matchup, Parker Pico versus Bryce Underwood. Both these guys have different styles.
Completely different.
Underwood can run if need be.
So for the listeners,
Belleville runs an RPO offense.
Okay.
Yep. It's very, and I compared them to West Bloomfield. I compare them to West Bloomfield. They run an RPO offense. Whereas with Adams, we know about the view. Yeah. We know about Parker Pico. He's very athletic.
So with RPO,
it's run pass option.
Right. Usually it's kind of predicated on how are your corners shutting down your receiving crew, right? So that you take that away from them.
Right.
Because they can be quick hit passes.
Short
slants.
Yep, slants, yep.
So if you can take that away, I think the defensive line for Adams can plug those holes.
I think they can. And then you look at, obviously, with the kicking game's going to favor Adams, obviously.
Why, obviously?
Game. Because I trust Timko. In this game. Belleville, okay. I'm very suspect with their kicking game.
Well, we saw it last year, and that was a year ago.
Their
kicking game, I'm not going to say cost them a state title run, or at least to get them through the finals, but
I think that was their coaching that cost them.
Their kicking game wasn't the greatest.
Wasn't the greatest. No, I'm giving Adams the advantage in special teams.
Okay.
Defensively, I'm giving Adams the advantage there because of their defense. Belleville, I know, can score. I know Belleville's in battle tested, but I trust Adams here in this game.
Well, here's a not seeing the game Adams played against Grand Blanc, and the turnover bug. Does Adams need the turnover bug to hit the Tigers to shut them down? Or do you think, like we saw with West Bloomfield, when Adams head-to-head, not a lot of turnovers?
No.
It was a straight-up
brawl. Slugfest brawl.
It was haymakers. It was just who can push the other one up and down the field and who's going to stop them.
Yep.
It was an old-school, awesome. If it was only raining on a muddy field, it'd been
it would have
been classic, right?
You would have seen muddy gold uniforms and muddy white uniforms.
It was one of those old style games. Does Adams need that, or does Adams need to force Belleville into a style like that to have a chance?
I think Adams needs to force Belleville to play that style of football. Where
a grinding,
grind out, slugfest. If they can do that, then if they can play it at Adams' pace, then there's no doubt in my mind the Highlanders are going to win this
Adams shortens games.
Yes,
like no team I've seen in a long time.
No, I agree with you.
Like some of the classic teams from Oxford are the only ones that popped into mind.
Yeah, Bud Riley, Pond Rock football.
Yeah, run. It's because they can milk that clock and long drives, just milking that clock.
But Adams is going to have to score in this game against Belleville.
Yes.
They're going to have to score. You can't hold a team to like 0-0. You know what I mean?
No, well, we saw that game.
Yeah, we saw that game.
What was it, 3-2 or?
Yeah, Clarkson West Bloomfield State Final. Remember that?
That was a great baseball game.
Yeah, really good game.
That was wild.
Yeah,
I've never seen anything like it. I don't think that's going to happen.
No, well, obviously would not. That obviously is not going to happen.
Oh, no.
No.
But, all right, well, let's get down to it, Sammy. What does Adams need to do? Let's start with Belleville.
Okay.
What does Belleville need to do to win?
Belleville needs to clamp down defensively, especially against Sevier.
So running. They got to shut down the run.
They got to shut down the run. They got to force Adams' hand here. That gives Belleville their greatest chance. Use their fast athleticism, speed. They're very athletic. They're very fast. So if they can use that to their advantage, they can win that game.
Okay. Do you think Belleville needs it to be a high-scoring affair?
Yes. Because
you don't think a ground and pound will be worked to their advantage?
No, a ground and pound will not work against Adams. I mean, it will for them, not against them. Because if they do, it's going to be a long day for them. Because I know that Adams' defense really good.
All right.
And then on the flip side.
Flipping on the flip side. We have Adams. We know them. We've seen them 1,000 times. We've seen them over the years.
Time possession football.
What do they need to do to shut down Belleville?
Time possession football will do it to you. Time possession football. This is a good opportunity for Griffin Hankey to bounce back. He wasn't existent last week against Grand Blanc because they went to the air. I expect Belleville will have the receivers covered. So what needs to happen here is if Griffin Hankey gets going in that game, it's going to open the door for Parker Picot to run that veer. And it gives him so many options.
Yeah. And we saw that against West Bloomfield.
Right.
When the running back's eating,
and
they key in on that guy, and then Picot just takes off, and he'll gash you for 10.
Right. He'll gash you for 10. So basically, I think Griffin Hankey is the key in this game for Adams because it opens up Picot to do whatever he wants. And if Hankey gets shut down and they focus on Picot, that's got problems written all over it.
Yeah.
Now, another guy I'm watching really carefully is Nick Patera. Patera spent some time at quarterback, spelling Picot a couple plays. I'm watching him carefully in this game as well. But I think the main guy to watch is Griffin Hankey. And that says a lot. Because, I think up front, I think Adams up front is better than Belleville.
Both sides?
On both sides. So I think it's going to be a really, really good battle up front. But if Griffin Hankey has a breakout game, then it opens up Picot, and everything takes care of itself.
If Adams has to go through the air, do you think they find the same success they had against Grand Blanc?
No. Belleville's more talented in the secondary. No. So I don't see Adams having that success that they had against Grand Blanc in the secondary like they will in this game against Belleville.
Okay. All right. I'm excited.
Yes.
This is fun.
I know.
How awesome is this? Undefeated OAA team going in.
Against a 12-1
Belleville 12-1. You couldn't ask for anything more interesting.
Yeah. Clash of two different styles.
Yep.
Flashy motion against the veer.
Yeah.
Who you got?
Philosophy versus different type of philosophy. This is the fun bit.
Yes, it
different
is.
styles of football. I mean, we get so kind of numbed to the modern day game on the college side of things where it all kind of looks the same, right? That's why I love the high school state finals because you see so many different types of offenses and the way teams go about it to try to get the W. It's so much fun.
And it's a Friday, Saturday thing. You have the even numbers play on Friday and then the odds play on Saturday.
So what time's the game?
1 o'clock.
Okay.
1 o'clock. It'll be on Valley Sports Detroit. That's the Division I final. So because that's where Adams is at playing Belleville. I can just imagine the bus ride for both these schools, having to go down there. Belleville having to take it's a little shorter trip
94.
from Belleville. 94 up to Ford Field. For Adams, it's 75 to it's down 75,
Yep.
So it'll be really interesting.
Gonna be a lot of fun. Okay.
Adams will be wearing gold, Belleville in white.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the...
Adams wears gold.
So they're the favorite?
They're the home team.
Home team.
Who do you got?
Oh, I'm going to take Adams. I think it's going to be by 10.
I'm going to take Adams in this game by 14.
Okay.
Because I think the differences in this game is going to be Adams' ability to run that veer. They're going to run that veer. And we'll see what happens going forward.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yes,
I can't wait for it.
I can't wait to watch it, too. I mean, it'll be really interesting to see what happens.
And the good thing, too, is if you miss it at 1 p.m., they replay the heck out of those games the following week. So,
absolutely. So if you get to watch
if you
it,
miss
you know what I mean?
Yep. I'm going to be sitting at Spartan Stadium freezing
Against
my
Penn
patootie
State?
off to see Penn State. My son and I are going up. I wanted to see Kenneth Walker in person at least one time before he's
I
long
was
gone.
very disappointed in Michigan State's performance.
I'm not surprised they lost, but I'm shocked at the manner in which they lost.
Yeah, bothers me.
That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
I wish I could make $100 million and get blown out.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway, love my Spartans.
Mm-hmm.
Excited about the Highlanders.
Yep.
And
we're going to keep a really close eye on this.
Anything else you want to share? We mentioned swim championships again.
Yes, I want to congratulate Seaholm on winning the Division II state championship. Girls was 5th. Division I, Bloomfield Hills was 17th. Was the best OA representative there.
Nice.
And Holland. And then Seaholm won in Division II state title at Oakland University. So
such a good swimming program over there. It's insane.
It's their third in a row. Their third
Crazy.
state title in a row. I do want to apologize to those who are looking for my boys' basketball previews. Of course, I want to do that this week, but we had a lot of football
This
talk
is a lot
this
of
week.
fun.
A lot of fun. We'll preview it next week.
We'll do that, and I want to say congratulations to Michigan State men's cross-country team. Andrew Nolan, an OAA Red, Lake Orion grad, competed in that as well as Brendan Favaza from Clarkston, competed for MSU in the NCAA Division I national championships. So they acquitted themselves well. So congratulations to those former OAA runners for making it to the Division I NCAA finals in Tallahassee.
OA runners doing well in the cross country race.
Absolutely.
So we'll see what happens there. I wish everybody the best of luck, especially the Highlanders, Adams Nation.
Absolutely.
Especially those going down to Ford Field this weekend. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody here.
Hey, don't eat too much turkey, Sammy.
I'm not going to eat too much turkey.
I love Thanksgiving.
I know you do. Unless you're a Lions fan, but that's okay.
Lions who? I don't eat lions. I eat turkey.
All right, everybody, I'm going to sign off here. Wish Adams the best of luck in the state finals this weekend. Sammy Taormina here. I'm going to take care. Signing off. God bless. And see you next week, everybody.
See you, Sam. OAA Now is produced by Sammy Taormina. The views on this show are his and mine alone. Everybody, if you're out there traveling for the holidays, be safe out there, okay? We'll see you next week on OAA Now. We'll see ya!